Homes off to the CBC for this gem of a story. Apparently, some Liberal staffers decided to head down to the Canada Strong and Free conference. You know, the one where Danielle looked eerily happy? Maybe that's because she knew this story would eventually end up being reported by CBC News. Incidentally, at the event, people started to notice these buttons. The first one, you probably shouldn't, but you could argue it's poking fun at the way that a provincial Conservative campaign strategist has been torching the incompetence of the federal Conservative strategy. You know, the one where they keep having Pierre stand at an increasingly ridiculous podium and glitch out. But the second one, the one that really offends me, promotes the idea of preemptively questioning the hard work of dedicated elections workers. And it's from America. So, do we know that these dimwits were the ones planting the buttons? Yeah, we do. Because they went to a bar and bragged about it to their friends with someone who they knew was a CBC reporter sitting right there. What the fuck? Please tell me you were drunk. Also, why the fuck were you drunk? I am glad that the Liberals got caught pulling this shit. Because why the fuck were they pulling this shit? They're set to run away with this election. Some of the only ridings that are likely to go Conservative are the ones in the most rural places. Like, the only place that is going to vote blue are places with massive monocultures. So why did anyone think that this shit was necessary? Apparently, the staffers who executed this are part of the Liberal war room. So I'm going to guess that it is their job to pull little manipulative shit like this to try and influence the election. And that bothers me. I understand that all political parties probably have a group who their job is to be professionally dishonest. I can accept the fact that Canada has spies, but parties having groups whose job it is to be dishonest, no wonder our politics are as shitty as they are. You know what the problem with this is? Misinformation spreads from idiot to idiot like a communicable disease, and we do not need the far right in this country to be more insane than they already are. I suspect that the goal of this was for some people at the conference to pick up the buttons and say, this is funny, I'm going to put this on, and then you probably have someone with a camera nearby to snap photos, and heck, maybe some of them start wearing them to rallies, and then you have something to criticize them on. But I have a question for you. Why don't the Liberals try and criticize them for their fucking record like a normal person? You know, the sort of normal person who uses a puppet of a computer chicken to rant about political types doing dumb shit on the internet. There is so much real, insane, dumb shit that rolls out of the extreme right wing every day. Just go on TikTok for an hour or two. You don't need to make it up. You have those don't trust the polls people who have been going around to rallies. Or, wait, are those liberal crisis actors? You see, why you shouldn't pull this shit? Because even if those people are legitimately connected to the Conservatives, one call from Jenny Bryan, and she'll have them doing an interview with Juno claiming that Justin Trudeau found them in a Wendy's and gave them a duffel bag full of cash. Have you never watched an episode of Scandal? Part of being a political agent is controlling the narrative, and then having spicy, aggressive scenes with hands everywhere and faces smushed together like God intended. From an ethical standpoint, I understand that at its core, politics is manipulative. I understand that there can be a need to be tricky and a little deceptive, but as a voter, I do not like the idea of voting for a party that is this comfortable trying to misrepresent the other party's voters. How many of the dumb bots in my comments that repeat really stupid Conservative talking points are actually being paid for by the Liberals? I hope none, but I would rather not have a reason to question that. So, should this be a big deal? Kind of not. Is this as bad as the NDP going after smart voting? No. Nobody got hurt by this aside from the Liberals' credibility. Is this as bad as the Conservative Party on a Tuesday? No. But the Conservatives haven't been campaigning as if anyone who isn't an idiot should trust them. Carney has been jetting across the country, shaking babies and kissing hands, and he's been doing a good job. So why pull this shit? Why? Why? The Liberals wanted to win harder, while risking spreading a very contagious and toxic thought in the process. I feel like the goal of this is to try and turn the Ontario Conservatives against the Alberta Conservatives, because maybe the party splits after the election, and then they're easier to fight when they're not together. It's a good strategy, but there are ways to do it that aren't this. And there's ways to do it while sober. You know what? I'm not a Liberal. So you guys, feel free to fucking twiddle your holes as much as you want, but if you wouldn't mind hitting some AA meetings before the election is over, that'd be great, since our existence as more than plus-size Puerto Rico is at stake. Who knew that Doug Ford's cheap booze would work out this well for the Conservatives?